Hello, how's everyone doing on this Sunday? Whatever it is for you. It's a morning for me. It's going to quickly evolve into an afternoon as we get through these songs. I'm doing all right. Hopefully, y'all are doing better. Damien over there. It's just a slightly less wise stream. Pedo Death, Bodan, Damien Synops, Johnny Truant, Leon, Inky, Nobody Important. How's everyone doing? How's my tooth? Well, it's gone. I didn't even think to keep it, but I guess it's in some trash somewhere. I actually don't know what dentists do with pulled teeth. Um, my mouth is feeling weird though. Some of that I'm sure is due to the swelling of the gums, which is still there, but also my tongue just feels weird because it's missing a part of a wall that it's used to being there. So that's wild. Yeah, it's not there anymore. Exactly. RTQ, Malification. Glad to have you all here. Dude, the Tooth Fairy didn't give me anything. Plus, that dentist robbed me blind. That was an expensive extraction. Especially for like, so here's the thing, right? I kind of assumed that like doctors or like some cool specialized tools that a dentist would use. No, they just use like a small crowbar and then they get under the tooth and they just jam it out. Like pure force. There's nothing specialized to it. Oh man, it cracked me up. I missed out on the Tooth Fairy loot. Yeah, tooth NFTs. They're only going up. If you got robbed and ended up blind, they removed the wrong thing. Touche, Damien. Touche. Alright. A weird side effect, though, because I have this gap back here, like I said, where my tooth is used to, where my tongue is used to having, a wall, basically, a barrier, is that I feel like I have extra space that comes out of my S's, which doesn't make any sense because I don't use my back teeth to form that, but they sound different to me now. I don't know. Maybe that's just an internal thing. Maybe that doesn't register outside. Maybe it's just my mind playing tricks on me. But when I recorded the last couple of reactions, sans a tooth, some of my words sounded weird to me when I was saying them. And I haven't really paid that much attention to it in regular speech, but when I'm talking in front of the camera and stuff, I pay a bit more attention to my cadence and stuff. Try to make myself a bit clearer because I do talk a bit with a southern drawl sometimes. I speak really fast. So like when I get in front of the camera, I have a very different cadence than a more casual way of doing things, and I pay a bit more attention to it, and I hear some differences. It's wild. Extra space for a cyanide capsule. I do have room for one now. Your reactions are tongue in cheek. Oh, jeez. All right. Yeah, as you can see, this is working now, which is wild because I didn't change anything. Have no idea what broke last week. They only removed. Sounds like a whole bunch. They only removed one. Hey, Sunsteel, welcome. I still have the other one. It's not causing any issues yet, so we left it. And what's weird is when it did the X-ray, well, at least on the right side, because that's where the pain was. The dentist didn't see a lower wisdom tooth, but I've never had that pulled. So I'm curious if there's one on the other side too, because they're not visible to me without an X-ray. But yeah, my right lower wisdom tooth just isn't there. I don't get it. Kicking in with the drum sounds already. All right, let's get this train rolling because we do have a couple of longer tracks today. I had to switch one song out and it got replaced with a 6 minute and 57 second track, really pushing that 7 minute limit. And I don't know if that person's here. I think it's Tom from Patreon. I messaged them. If you're here, I did message you because they picked Demonstration of Power, Five Eyes, which we just checked out on like Thursday or something. for full reaction, so I figured they wouldn't want me to do it here as well. So I did get that one removed. We'll be checking out Tom's request next week, and I pulled in whoever was supposed to kick off next week. They're going to wrap up today. You've evolved past having the unnecessary teeth. Not everyone has all of them. That's interesting. Even my dentist seemed a bit surprised by it. But now I'm curious. Like, what is the percentage of people who just don't have all of the wisdom teeth? Is that normal? Or is that a bit unusual? What do we do? Oh, yeah, we're going to check out some Lantlôs. We're kicking this off with black metal, right? Is that what Lantlôs is? Only had the two upper ones? Okay. I eat plankton. Community is running out of music to react to. You're just too productive. Yeah, I'll pride myself on that. We check out a lot of music. I never really thought about it either, but we have 10 reactions a week, plus 7 to 10 on average for the album review. Granted, you know, that's condensed down to a single album, but that's still 7 more songs. And then 10 on the live stream. That's like 27 to 30 songs a week. When I put it that way, I guess I am very productive. So we're doing the same track twice? Wait, you lost me? How did you lose me? It was interesting. I actually laughed quite a bit during the extraction. I think the dentist was getting tired of me. But I just kept hearing tooth puns, like every 5 seconds from the dentist talking to the nurse or the assistant. I don't know what their official title is, but whoever is helping them with the extraction. And I just kept hearing tooth puns. I don't think it was intentional, but I just kept hearing them. And I'd start laughing while I have like 5 fingers in my mouth. And they were getting so annoyed with me. It was probably the weirdest extraction they've... Oh, upcoming is the same. Did I not change that? Boop-a-doop-boop-a-doop-boo. Oh, that's what you meant. What is that file called? I don't know. I'll find it this way. Oh, it's called the stream list. Well, that's something I should remember, especially since I made the file. You laugh too? Okay, so at least I'm not weird. Must have been some strong stuff. No, actually it wasn't. I had a local numbing agent, probably Novocaine, and that was it. No medication at all. But, dude, it was hilarious. Up until, you know, the tooth decided not to come out, and then it was just a lot of pressure. But still, man, he'd say something, I'd be like, that could be a pun right there. And I'd just start cracking up. It was ridiculous. Alright, so I fixed it. We have, you know, the next track that's actually upcoming. That's done there. Thanks, Synips, for calling my attention to that. Let's dive into this. We got some Lantlôs here, which I'm probably pronouncing incorrectly. FHI says some more Lantlôs. Let's dive into this and see what they're bringing to the table with this one. Melting Suns 4, Jade Fields. Hey, I'm Miss Spurtle. Welcome. Glad to have you. Now, this is a black metal band, right? But they're experimental. They're on the fringe. They do other stuff too, but a lot of it's atmospheric, if I'm remembering them correctly. That's... See, I'm thinking of something more abstract. The visual of the melting sun. the latest album was not black metal. Very cool. Because this is a very evocative atmosphere that they've built already. Okay. More shoegazy, post black metal. I can get behind that. Bright metal. I might have to steal that in the future when we check out some of these converted black metal bands. Low light machine metal. The wild thing is that probably exists. Yeah, for as aggressively hit as the snare and bass are on this, I think the drumming is very light and peaceful. You know, alongside the atmosphere, which of course is just very ethereal and calming. Yeah, the Tasty Drum Group, exactly. Hey, Kessler. Yeah, I don't see you pop up in the streams too often. Glad to have you. Very focused on that atmosphere, that gritty brightness, the texture of the guitars. Ooh. It's not quite as technical as math rock can be, but it has that flair. Turning into Tesseract, that's, yeah. Oh, leaning into this space? Okay. The highly compressed single guitar for 8th note pull down into the big explosion. That's so Midwest emo. Yeah, they know how to craft the mood, that's for sure. They have this unrelenting bass that gives it a massive sound. You know, I hadn't even paid attention to the bass at all. The guitars dominate so much in the spotlight. Yeah, just an absolutely beautiful track. Hyper focused on that atmosphere, just from start to finish. They have that bright, beautiful optimism throughout the entire song, whether it's just chords they're playing or towards the end of the track where you had those melodic riffs come in and sort of embellish upon that positivity. Everything is just bright and cheerful. Yeah, and relaxing too. I kind of feel that as a secondary component, but I see a lot of you are leaning into that primarily. So I find that to be interesting. Sign up said if you anodize aluminum, you get black metal. I kind of want to take that as a black metal project name. Anodized aluminum. That'll be what I call my black metal band. Not Forest of Obsidian, which is what I did last time, even though I feel like that is definitely more of a black metal name. I like anodized aluminum, though. That's good stuff. Yeah, the drumming in here, though. Post ASMR metal. What? I don't want to think about that. The drumming in here is fantastic, though. There are so many little snare ideas, a lot of dynamic shifting between them. We don't really have ghost notes per se, but we do have lighter and heavier snare hits. We don't have just two volume levels either. We have a spectrum between them. And I really love all of the variety that we get from that, especially towards the end when we were starting to get a consistent snare attack. And I thought that worked really well. It kind of feels like the constant eighth note or constant 16th note snare stuff we would get in black metal, but with more dynamic playing to it that gives it a stronger feeling of groove and contrast. And to me, that works really well. It's one of those expansions of black metal. Black is an expansion of one of black metal's ideas that I think works fantastically in this new context as a way to explore what they're used to doing. And that's, I think, is still one of the things I love about these bands that are tied to black metal but not making black metal, is saying, you know, this is atmospheric, lots of attacks. How do we transition this into something else? How do we explore it differently? And you know, that's just post-black metal, right? Same thing with post-rock, post-punk. You know, how do we take these sounds that we've grown accustomed to and explore them in new directions? But with black metal, I really like what's happening. I don't know if it's because I'm here for this, whereas post-rock and post-punk happened before I was aware that those movements were going on. But it's a very cool thing to watch this happen across all these projects. I guess that's about it. It's a big sound, very distorted, but also just gorgeous all the way through. And yeah, just a beautiful little song. I guess I gotta check this group out. This was a 2014 album. I'm kind of curious then. Y'all were talking about their latest one being pure shoegaze. That would be 2021's. Nope, that's a single. Might have to go to Bandcamp then. Wild Hunt from 2021, would that be their latest? That is the newest one Spotify has. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I wish it did have a little bit more movement to it for me to enjoy casually. Wild Hunt, alright. For me to enjoy it casually, but you know, if I'm in the mood for like this really beautiful background music, I don't like using that word for something that I feel was designed to capture your attention, but to me it just doesn't have enough movement to it, and it works really well as a secondary thing to pay attention to. Definitely alt metal plus shoegaze. That sounds wild. Wild Dog? Oh, Wild Hunt, yeah. But yeah, like I love alt metal. That's sort of my home metal. Probably because it's the most mainstream style, but yeah, if you're gonna mix that with something, I'm probably gonna enjoy it. Could be translated to countryless, countries and countryside, if you would read it as a Swedish word. Interesting. And they're unique. Yeah, they are unique. You know, we've listened to some bands that have taken the black metal sound and kind of lightened it up a little bit, but Lantlôs is that group that's just kind of stands out to me. I don't ever forget what their sound is. Whereas bands like Alcest, I seem to continuously forget what kind of music they make. Y'all were calling me out on my comments this week about it. You know, for good reason. I definitely said some wrong stuff about that group, but I can't seem to keep them straight. Whereas Lantlôs, I'm like, yep, this is that lighter black metal stuff. Lake Fantasy from their latest album is nice. Oh, it's their opening track. Also, vastly, that must be a single. It exceeds their number of plays of every other track by sixfold. Easily their most popular. Vocals stayed very metal with a shoegaze sound. Feels odd. Interesting. Yeah, now I'm kind of intrigued though. Alright, moving right along here. We got Bomb the Music Industry. Even winning feels bad. And, I mean, that's a combination of sentences. Very simple album art here. Let's see. Comes from Kessler with no context. I stopped being harsh on you with forgetting what band sounds like when I realized you're at 1,200 plus bands. Yeah, probably, well, like I mentioned when you brought that up a while ago, the list is quite outdated by a few months. So we might be into the 1400s by now. It's a lot of music. And I don't think that number captures live streams either. That is strictly full reactions. And it doesn't cover albums either. I think that list only captures song reviews. So, yeah, y'all have shown me a lot of music in 5 years. And it's kind of wild to think that when November comes around, which feels like it's right around the corner, it'll be 5 years of doing this. I don't know. That's hard for me to grasp. I don't know. That's bonkers, man. All right. I have a lot of new. Yeah, I bet you all still have a lot of new bands for me. Sunsteel I know has a lot, a ton of prog rock stuff that I haven't heard yet. But I'm sure y'all got stuff up your sleeves. That one thing you're waiting for the opportune time, or maybe you've just forgotten about, and it takes a specific theme to maybe trigger a memory of it. And you're like, oh man, I can't believe there's no reaction to this band out. Brian's got to be the first one. And yeah, as much music as we've listened to, there's still so much more. I am kind of curious now for larger channels. I wonder how many bands they've listened to. Because especially like the more mainstream channels, it feels like they kind of stick to smaller lists. But I'm kind of curious too how large their unique artist list happens to be. Yeah, that is true too, Leon. Is that I don't revisit bands too often. There's definitely a few vocal people for stuff like Between the Buried and Me and Dream Theater. Although Dream Theater's kind of fallen off a little bit. They used to be one of the top bands. I don't think we've done a Dream Theater track in a long time. Nightwish, I think, is another one. I'm pretty sure Between the Buried and Me is the only group we've listened to double digits of, not counting albums. I think we've done like 11 reactions for them, and then plus 3 albums. They're definitely the most popular band on the channel. But yeah, most bands it's like 1 or 2 songs. Emily Autumn's one of those artists. Completely forgot about her till like, dude, that was so good though. I'm so glad you showed me that. You know what sucks too is I really like that song, and I still haven't listened to her albums. Yeah, they usually do listen to more bands that are mainstream, but there's still a lot of mainstream bands over decades. I mean, they could still easily cross 1,000. It just feels like to me they probably check out more songs per artist than I do. Oh yeah, Opeth is another big one. They're probably close to hitting double digits. I'd be surprised if we hadn't crossed 10 for them yet. Same with Steven Wilson, although I think it might be cheating, and I'd like combine Steven and Porcupine Tree. That's probably over 10 now. See, that's another wild phenomenon too, is that most reaction channels all cover the same songs. I don't know how much of that is piggybacking on what's popular or uh, just the same people asking for the same songs over and over, but that does happen. And see, that kind of sucks for this channel too, because it's not just that we're checking out niche bands, but also that there's no riding hype train to catch the coattails on. So I'm kind of left with my own promotion, and YouTube doesn't really help too much with that. The album's candidate for album reaction, dude. You throw that in, I'll be so hyped. I will. I won't, but I'd be tempted to nudge the dice maiden a little bit towards an Emily Autumn album. Car Mechanic has no reactions on YouTube. Did we do that for? We did that for a live stream, right? Yeah. Electric Cowboy reactions are very popular. I think it's because they're the face of fun metal, and so even if you don't like metal, you can enjoy the music video. And I think that works really well for them. We used to do popular releases every Friday. Well, a new release every Friday. Not necessarily popular, but I have Napalm Records and geez, I have like 3 or 4 record labels that email me when new music videos come out, and that's usually what I picked from for those Friday reactions. But last month we didn't have any, and this month I don't think we've had any either. We'll probably have one this Friday. I don't know what it's going to be yet, because I don't know what this week's music videos are yet, but yeah, I don't necessarily think they worked too well at bringing in an audience. They didn't have a lot of views, and they didn't do too well for outreach. So I guess I would just need to go more towards mainstream than popular releases. But even that didn't work out too well either, because we've done K-pop, which tends to get really high views, but really low subscribers from them. And that's pretty much the case for any of that. If I check out like some classic rock or whatever, lots of views, just no conversion. And so it's probably because they watch that one video and they say, oh, what else has this guy reacted to? And they're like, I don't know any of these bands from the top 200 videos he's done, so why would I continue watching this channel? And so I kind of came to the conclusion that focusing is probably better. You have Napalm Records for August? Wow. That's true, RTQ. You tend to pick some stuff that rocks my world. Usually in a neutral kind of way. I don't know how to feel about it yet. It's always songs that take more than one listen. Electric Cowboy's a complete miss. Dude, it's like Blink 182 metalcore. You have to be there for the cheesy, fun, low stakes energy. And it's a very different kind of cheese, but I kind of put them in the same area as power metal. Like, I enjoy both of those types of music for the same reason. Instead of chasing trends, Brian went for the bold channel marketing strategy of tooth removal and leaving for a few weeks. I just need to get better at guilt tripping people. There will be a different format to the way I promote my channel during videos after the break. So in August. But I will be doing some more call to actions. But the thing is that I don't want them to be obtrusive. I don't want to stop the whole video to say, hey, if you like what I'm doing, go into my Patreon and stuff. Like, to me, it ruins the flow of the reaction. And to me, it seems to be a hindrance for the fans, because they'll have to see it every single time. Whereas the person who pops in and watches one reaction a month, they'll see it less. And that seems to be counterintuitive to me. But I will be adding some more animations to the screen to remind people there is a Patreon, to remind people that there is social media, because I will be remaking my Mastodon and doing marketing in general, just trying to promote myself a bit more starting in August. So do it at the end of the videos. I already do. I tell people to like, subscribe, ring the bell. I got my Patreon. There's ways to support the channel in the Discord. I mean, in the link tree. I put all that to the end. But how many people make it to the end of a video? That's my metrics say not many. Most people make it about 2 minutes in. So do it at the start, or maybe only some. What if I specifically target videos that I expect will have mass appeal? Well, see, that's counterintuitive too, I think. I mean, it definitely will. If I check out Nightwish, I know that that's going to have a lot more eyes on it than if I check out a Dissection or something. So that would be a good time for it. But there's also a lot of black metal brings in more views than usual too. At least I think more views outside of the channel. But then I'm just inviting more black metal suggestions. So is that really what I want to do? YouTube has skip intro feature? Ugh, I mean, my intros are only 30 seconds anyways. After the intro and before the reaction would capture the most. I gotta find a way to make it short and snappy too. Maybe like a little jingle. I don't want to take up like 30 seconds. Because one of the things I pride myself on is how quickly I get into the reaction. That people don't need to skip the intro too much because it's really only 20 seconds long. Yeah, in the middle. I've watched a couple of TV reactors who will put it in the middle of it. Yeah, getting to the song is important because I don't watch a lot of reaction content. But when I do, the people who have like 5-minute intros, I'm just like skip, 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 skip. Because like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not a fan. I am that type of person who jumps in, watch a couple of episodes, and then like ducks out and comes back like a month later to see if you've done anything I like. But I'm not really there for the blocky updates or the chit chat between the two people. I'm there for the reaction, and so that should be front center to me. Subscribe at Patreon, sucker. I like that. Make the intro during the song. I like the idea. Some songs kick off right from the start though, so that'd be a bit tough. And the other half is that I'm sort of talking over the song, which I prefer to only do that if it's something worthwhile. So I don't know. A like and subscribe jingle that's in the genre of the song. Ooh, I can make a few of them. Oh, that was a... I'm really glad that was a joke, because part of me was like, dude, that's a really bad idea. But I tried to be a little nicer about it. uh, Alright. We're going to keep this train rolling because it's 30 minutes in and we've checked out one song. This is going swell. But these are all great ideas, and I will revisit this video, this little segment of it, and jot some stuff down later. Dude, I gotta work on my black metal though. The production is so tough for me. But I know how to make the drums. That part's easy. I think it's more effective than asking to subscribe to refer to the other content. Like, here's another similar reaction or something like that to make sure people go to the channel page. Oh yeah. And I used to bring that up a lot, and I'd do the little cards in the corner, be like, hey, you know, we checked this band out last week, and here's a link to it up there. I forget to do it, or I will do it, and I'll forget to make the card because I forget to make a timestamp, so later on when I'm editing, I don't even realize it's there. So I got to get better about getting back into that workflow proper. Play the jingle during the song. Yeah, I'm going to play some black metal on top of your black metal. You won't be able to hear what's happening in either one of them, and it'll sound fantastic. Ooh. Subscribers submitting vocals. I know there's quite a few singers on the Discord. I don't know about the larger community, but yeah, that would be pretty cool. There's a reason most top YouTubers... There is. And there's also a reason why I chose to go an editless route, because that is a very time-consuming aspect of video making. And I say that coming from somebody who used to take a month to make a 13 to 15 minute video, and most of that month was video editing. Like... there's a very distinct reason why I started this channel off saying I'm just going to turn the camera on and talk and then turn the camera off, and that's the video I submit. because for 4 years I did very intense video editing where it's like I pull together 15, 20 videos, find out what I need from each of them, put them in the correct order, do my transitions, do animations, all sorts of stuff. I did not want to go back to doing that. The end result's always cool, lots of pride in it, but the minute to minute, man, it is mind-boggling. Brian doesn't need to edit, it's all pure gold. I do my best. I don't think everything I say is worthwhile, but a vast majority of it I try to make sure is worth talking about. Do a kazoo. I don't know how to play the kazoo. I mean, maybe I could learn, but it always seemed to just make random notes to me. Rename the channel to Critical Analysis. I've thought about rebranding, but everything just kind of works right now. Makes the video seem genuine. I'm glad. That was another thing that I kind of had a secondary reasoning for is I don't mind the quick edit YouTube style, but it always feels like, especially when I'm watching somebody talk off the cuff anyways, that they just aren't the sharpest at live speech, at getting their thoughts out. And so they need to make all these edits in order to make something sound cohesive and comprehensive. And that might not necessarily always be the case, but it's what it feels like in the end. So I just enjoyed this. Plus, it just feels more my speed. I'm not a super choppy, high energy kind of person. So it just feels more authentic to me too. All right. Oh, this one comes from Kessler. Let's do this again. No context on this. Bomb the music industry. Let's see what's going on here. People don't care about professional. They just care about emotion and authenticity. Yeah, I can get behind that.
Seems like I'm complaining about something I've lost interest in, so I'll sing.
Finally, yeah, sorry, Kessler.
Here we go again.
Very funky. Yeah, I remember that, Leon. There was a part of me that I was like, maybe I should edit this, but then it would have been like a 2-hour render for a 10-second video removal. So I was like, I'll just leave it in.
Feels I'm desperately reaching for something that was there for like a day. It went away. Now I got nothing left.
Yeah, dude, this is just fun.
So I'm not gonna stay going. Hey, hey, ha, ha, hey. Baby, I won't impress you no matter what. Hey, would you like me if I stayed forever?
The synth is a nice addition to this.
Well, it sucks, but no one does. You used to staying out of touch. Hey, would you like me if I stayed forever young? Well, it sucks, but no one does. You used to staying out of touch. There's a man tonight that I don't wanna meet.
Randoms? Oh, wait, why is that still up?
Feels like I'm competing to be famous.
Y'all didn't even let me know.
So one day I can be on a list of deranged celebrities. I think I'd way rather leave. I got my bag over my sleeve, and my ticket out of town expires tonight. Hey, would you like
Is that a piano too? Oh, it's technically Scotland? Okay.
Well, it sucks, but no one does. You used to staying out of touch.
Technically.
Would you like me if
I mean, they pulled it off real well, so...
well, it sucks, but no one does.
They have a song called Side Projects Are Never Successful.
Awkward in all social surroundings. If I stayed forever
interesting capturing the rawness of punk with the energy of ska. When did this come out? 2006? Huh. Feels like a musical. Yeah, I greatly enjoyed that. Feels very Blackbird. You know, there was a part of that, and I couldn't quite place it, but I was like, something about this is really familiar. I don't know too much about Black Parade, but yeah, early YAYA KIM, especially first album on some of their lighter tracks, like track 4, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, they're lighter, bouncier, brighter harmonically tracks. Yeah, I can certainly hear part of this in that. Um, Feels more expansive than ska punk usually does. I think that's because it tries to capture two wildly different sides, which is that raw punk energy and then the bright, bouncy danciness of ska. And the combination of the two actually gives a pretty wide width, to be redundant, of area to make music for. Whereas if you just stuck with punk or just stuck with ska, you'd end up with something that can feel a bit two-dimensional. Maybe has a little bit of contrast between a lighter verse and a more energetic chorus, but usually a very similar sound. And here we bounce between two wildly different ideas, almost bringing them together too. Depressed 30s drinking music. Should I not look at the lyrics then? Jeff throws it all in. Yeah, I dig it. And I think the thing that really ties it together is the vocal production, the very raw feeling there, not just with his delivery, which can be a bit pitchy at times. He puts that rasp on it at times also, but also, I'm speaking real well today. The general production of it, which feels a bit less touched up than in something more mainstream. There is a very basically whatever he's saying into the microphone feeling that's going on with it, and it just gives it this authenticity that indie rock and punk typically has, but I think works really well with this combination of sounds here. Yeah, that's definitely depressed 30s feeling right there. 30 isn't old. That's both true and not true. 30 can feel really old from experience. 30 can feel really old. And 30 was definitely the point where my mental state began to change. And yeah, when I turned 30, that year was really bad for me. To a point that I was, well, no, we're not for a live stream. That'll be for something else. But yeah, it's just like the year I turned 30 was wild. Like there was a drastic difference between who I was in my 20s and who I was when I was 30. And so the past 6 years, how old am I? Whatever. The past X amount of years have been kind of rough. Very different and distinct from my 20s, which I didn't think was going to be a thing because my 20s really didn't feel that much different from my teen years, except, more freedom. But yeah, something clicked in my brain when I turned 30. Something about that number just drastically changed my experience. 30 was the point where they finally weight gained consequences to. Yeah, the body does not want to be 30. It does not want to keep up with your poor decisions from your 20s. No, and see, I can get behind that sentence. 30 technically isn't old. But also, average life expectancy says 30 is about middle age. And I think that's one of the things that really, hit me. 6 wisdom teeth? That's wild. Did you take my 2? I still think after 20 we're all in the same boat. I think that's more or less true. You got your kids, and I group the teens in there. And then you got your young adults in their 20s, and then you got everyone 30 and older, and they're just the adults. And yeah, I don't think much is going to change for me from this point on. This is just who I'm going to be. I'm not going to have any more. Well, maybe I will. Who knows? May have some midlife crisis and start a YouTube channel. Oh, wait. Alright, next up, we have Obsidious with the track Devotion. You're supposed to be an adult now? 30-year-old or dumb babies. I can get behind that too. This one comes from Nikolai. No context. I want to make a note of that. The no context with the brackets around it means that I wasn't given context. Alright, that's some foreshadowing for the future. Where is this song? Ah, there we go. Alright. Let's dive into this. When you're 30, I imagine you reflect more on life, and that's the kind of vibe Jeff gives me, like someone who feels empty and screams the pain away. Yeah, I can get behind that. The Midlife Crisis Edition. Yeah, that might have to be it. It won't make any sense. And those are my favorite kind. Maybe you'll have a midlife crisis and do something crazy like finish near. Y'all are gonna keep ragging on me. I'm gonna keep telling you, August. Kid goes back in school, I go back on a full work week schedule. I definitely pare it down a little bit during these 8 weeks, simply because I don't have like a dedicated 8 to 4 time frame that I work every day. So today's artist name and song titles are always matched. Are they? Did I miss something? Let's dive into this. You can explain yourself in a second. Oh yeah, Cruelty Squad. That'll be next up. Alright. Obsidious. I have created a little category. Oh, dude, that's beautiful. Of games that I want to stream, and it's like 6 or 7 games deep now, so I think the game streaming I'm going to keep doing. I might pare it back to 1 day a week, though. 2 days is a little tougher to keep up with. It took me a year and a half to finish Witcher 3. I mean, Witcher 1. Witcher 2 is only like 20 hours, though. That was nice. And I'm scared to start Witcher 3. Okay, this is fun. Dude, that bass tone though, it's got a wild buzz to it. Dude, seeing this live must have been wild. So much energy on this part. Does it? I think it sounds very clean, very tech death. I'm actually the opposite. I like the clean vocals a lot more than the harshes. Oh, a little bit of chime. Dude, Sunstill, there's a lot of really good progressive metal out there. You just You gotta get used to the harsh vocals, unfortunately. So he has 3 fretless strings and 3 fretted. I don't remember how many strings is on the bass. Very picky on cleans. That's interesting. I never really got that idea of you based on the music that you've suggested. No, the Strandberg is a guitar, isn't it? There's 1 fretless bass, 1 mixed bass, and a guitar. Yeah. Feels clinical and bare. Yeah, that's Detect That Sound, I think. Oh wait, no, there's a blue bass too. I didn't see that 3rd bass. Yeah, you're right. Oh, that's not a Strandberg either, it's just a headless. Hit that note. Synapse, do you remember how they played that live? Because it looked like all 3 basses were played by the same person. It makes me think they're a 3-piece band, but they definitely have 5 parts worth of music here. Do you happen to remember if they had more people on stage? Somebody can let Lebowski know what genre this is. I think it's a mix of, like, I don't know, it's got symphonic metal vocals, but, like, tech death style riffage. I don't know where the crossover between that is. And I don't think if you specifically looked in either of those, you'd find anything quite like this. So, I don't know. Linus on bass only. Interesting. Yeah, that's wild though. 3 bass parts, a fretted bass, a fretless bass, and a mixed. Just what are these guys thinking? Oh, there you go too. It's just proggy metal. Prog metal. Uh, and see, that encompasses so much. You can't just say something, hey, go listen to some prog metal, because not everything is going to be like this, unfortunately. Dude, everyone's so talented though. The vocalist has that compressed, clean, sort of a more guttural sort of sound, and then the full-on harsh, his belted power metal vocals, fantastic vibrato, super bright, just fantastic stuff. The drummer, so many different styles. The dude's just like, he's pulling them all out. We've got blast beats in here. We've got groovier stuff, rockier stuff, metal aggression, double bass kicks. It's all over the place. The cymbal work's phenomenal. The guitarist has some wild lines. The bass work is just phenomenal. Sounds so disgustingly good. Yeah, it's just like everyone's super talented. I do wish I got pulled into it though. I don't know what's missing. I don't know where that special oomph is that is missing here, but I'm going to check more of them out. See if maybe it was just this track. I don't know. maybe it has to do with what RTQ is talking about with the production. It is a very clinical sound, not quite the area that Haken tends to produce in, but definitely a clearer, cleaner sound in order to showcase all of what's going on here, especially with so much bass resonance. With so many lower tones in here, you definitely need to make room and space for them. The production is going to do a lot of that heavy lifting. It can't be quite as dirty and gritty as metal can be, and thus you're going to lose a little bit of that energy you would get from the compression. I think it sounds fine though. I didn't even notice anything about the production until RTQ brought it up, but I'm curious if maybe that was something that held it back for me. But I mean, technically, everything on here works, and it's bass led. This should really work for me. And the one part that I wasn't too keen on, which was the heavy vocals, it's such a small area, and it's typically contrasted with his cleans, which I really do like. So on paper, this is definitely a track for me, and I can't really find anything wrong with it, but it kind of bounced off of me too, and I don't know why. So I gotta investigate that. I'm on the same page, don't feel a character or flavor. And maybe that's it too. I don't know that this sounds like Obsidious. This sounds like good prog metal. And that might be something that holds it back too. Some of their other songs are a lot more interesting. And yeah, see, I just got to dive into them a little bit and see what's going on. They were more fun live. I think they'd be awesome to see live. They have that composition that I would love to see. It's the same reason I went and saw Dragon Force one time. Not because I really liked their music, but because I wanted to see some technical playing, and they certainly kind of delivered on that. And that's why I would go see these guys. Just really great playing. And sometimes it's just good enough to go see some virtuosos play some good music. Harsh and clean parts were cool, but there just wasn't any oomph in any direction. Up until the end, I think, because I think his cleans and harshes are very safe. But the belting at the end was fantastic. I would not have minded to have heard more of that, but I understood why it was safe for the end too. I love when curveballs like Joanna Newsom pop up on your channel. I love curveballs on the channel in general, whoever they are. It's just really refreshing to get away from extreme metal sometimes. And it's one of the reasons why I did dive into a lot of K-pop this past season. It was recommended to me by somebody from the reaction channel K-pop Crash Course. And I was like, okay, I'll check one out. And then I kind of dug it. I just kind of checked out more and more and more. It's different. And sometimes it's what you need. Yeah, the end was awesome. My problem with Dragon Force is when I went and saw them, they were super drunk. So, like, it was impressive, but it was also kind of sloppy. And that sucked. Probably gonna have a power outage soon. Dude, that sucks. Take care of yourself. Bully Brian with silly jokes without me. But yeah, like, dude, seriously, I hope that comes. If the power goes out, I hope it comes back really quickly for you. Drunk musicians? Yeah. You know what's crazy too is I paid for that ticket. They were the opening group, and I left after watching them. Killswitch came on after, and I had no interest in that, so I paid full price to see a band sloppily play while drunk. I still kind of think I got my money's worth, but to say I was a bit bummed after when leaving, when I thought about the price, that wasn't great. Drunken Force. Oh, that's good. That's good. I only knew them for the one song at the time too. Fire in the Flames. I don't think I knew any other song. I went and saw them because I saw that music video. I was like, I gotta see this live. It's just one of those things you had to do. Nevermore, where the singer was more focused on flirting with the girl in the front row and having her yell woo into the mic. Dude, that seems really boring. But on top of that, like, really annoying. They should have given. How old was I? I was probably about 20, I think. I didn't really do much drinking. I probably would have declined. I think it's better to watch a band drunk playing live than watching a band hungover playing live. That's probably true. And there are, I mean, I saw the Used a couple of times where the lead singer was beyond wasted. And that tended to be okay. Drunk's probably better than hungover in general, though. Yeah, I agree with that. Two members of Opeth approached us in the parking lot asking to use our CD player to make a CDR they recently burned. Dude, that's hilarious. $60? That's too much for me. I don't think I've ever paid this more than like 20 to see a band or 30, but I go to like small venues too. I've never, well, I take that back. I saw Godsmack at a theater, at an arena, but my dad paid for those tickets. I'm pretty sure if I had seen the price, I would not have paid for that myself. But yeah, I don't think I've paid more than 20 or 30, except for a festival. I think I paid 55 for a festival a couple of times, but that was like 15 years ago. You know, before inflation. Before recent inflation. Dude, your story keeps getting more and more wild. Electric Callboy playing while drunk probably would be fine too. Godspeed. See, there's a thing too, because like when it comes to Godspeed You, they're more than entertainment, because that's also the experience, right? I think I might pay a little bit more to see like Lingua Ignota. I probably mispronounced that. I'd probably pay a little bit more than usual to see that, simply because it is that communal experience of being there in this type of music with a group. And Godspeed You kind of fits in that same area. 50 would probably be a hard cap for me, though. The Near Orchestra at 100, yeah, that's a little different, but I mean, it's still a concert and you still paid for it. Alright, Marlon Craft next up with the track Speakin. This one comes from Christopher. NYC represent. Let's do it. Let's see what Marlon Craft is crafting for us today. Yeah, I can get behind this. Very jazzy.
Yeah. I'm more. Yeah. What it do, what it is, what it could be. They more blah, 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 what it would be. Bluntly, I feel like all these motherfuckers pussy. Leader of the new school, they be playing hooky. Turn king from rapping on the corner where the rooks be. Chess game, less blame, more shame. What we need to push, we ahead, cause we thinking more simpler than the hooks be. I ain't come to sugarcoat shit, whole culture got spiritual diabetes. Humanistic raps, I'm trying to supply the species. I'm at the fight the thesis of the preacher king fiddle in the box critics. Bushwick fake frame.
I'm taking his flow, and I really like the ad-lib sax stuff underneath it.
Your pain like it's mine, that's a window to you, only way I can see through. Pass the sauce, let me stop preaching. Shit. I'm about to talk mine, let me stop preaching to him. Yeah. I'm about to talk mine, let me stop preaching to him. I'ma start speaking to him, I'ma start reaching to him. Little closed door, homie, I'ma start breathing through it. I'ma start eating through it. They gon' have to let me in, we gon' start seeing truths. Yeah. These days I stand far away when the train rolls in. I got something to lose, now more important than cool now. True to me is more important than rules now. Whole lot of obstacles, I got past them. Used to laugh at the kid, but I got the last one. I never want the past, and I only did with passion. At 25, already been like 9 versions of me. But see, he speaks to you now. It's so much better than the past ones.
I was thinking I wanted more interplay between the members. Can't make give me that rhythmic layer in there.
I just wanted to be somebody who could last, son. I just wanted to be normal till I realized the same shit. Bring my heart pain is the same shit that make it one of the last ones. But a real, ooh, motherfucker. We coming to you live from New York City. We just getting warmed up and shit though. Yeah. Should I keep going? Yeah. Yeah.
Building it back up, let's go.
This is jubilance birth from depression. This is humanness earned from obsession. Gave my heart to the craft, started living for myself. If I live to impress, then I'm pressing. Ask Kenny, we don't brought pain way before they try to sign us. Motherfuckers been congested. Every time I've been less than was a lesson. I broke it down to the essence. I hope it's focused to mission. This the cumulative effect of a new foot on the neck of the foolish who neglect what the trueness in the sex. I'm a mutant in the flesh, born the ruthless is a dead one. All the angles and the use for a check. New York, for what you thought you are. Pay attention when the tension right. Roll it together and keep walking up and tending cloud. My fear's a friend of mine. Homie. Yeah, that'll do.
That'll do. Yeah, you drop something that hard, and you're just like, that works. Oh man, that was good. Linus, welcome. I'm with you with that RTQ. I'm very picky about my rappers, more so than my rap styles. There's definitely some rap tracks that I've enjoyed where the lyrics are not my cup of tea at all, but I just really enjoy the syllabic flow and the technicality of the vocals and all that. But no, I didn't get the idea the vocalist was off time. There was a lot of metric play in that second verse, though, in the final 40 seconds or so. And so maybe there's a way that you could feel it where it was off. But I don't know. It all seemed to work for me. There's just so many metric layers, especially with the drummer modulating into halftime and triplets, changing up the rhythmic flow constantly. But to me, it felt like the singer was in time with everything. You're getting a rap song with exceptional lyrics after the 2-week pause. All right. I'm looking forward to that. Because so far, I found, we got Aesop. I think he tends to have really deep lyrics that are a bit outside of the mainstream lyrical themes of rap. And Watsky. I've only listened to a few tracks from him, but he tends to be really good lyrically for me. Do I enjoy jazz? I played jazz trumpet for 5 or 6 years. I do enjoy jazz. So yeah, if you wanna give me some jazz suggestions, hit me. We've had Kamasi Washington, I think, on the channel before. We had Pharoah Sanders. We've checked out Dave Brubeck, Miles Davis. Kind of blanking out. Zip, zip, zippity bop. That's exactly what jazz does. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of jazz, especially, well, more so traditional jazz, which is what I kind of grew up on and kind of what I knew jazz to be for a very long time. Shout out to Rudy, who has been in the comments pushing me in new directions for jazz over the past few months. Introduced me to an interesting article about the traditionalist jazz, which even in modern times has been pushed by Wynton Marsalis, and kind of keeping jazz into that traditional realm of we only play the standards kind of thing versus the new contemporary jazz, which is pushing jazz in new directions, which is stuff I have not been aware of at all outside of just avant-garde jazz, which has been around for a while anyways. But my understanding of jazz pretty much ends in the 70s, 60s and 70s with bebop and eventually jazz fusion. So I'm very out of the know for modern jazz stuff, and I'm interested to get into some of that because I have a huge blind spot for jazz. Jazz has gotten more interesting recently with a lot more avant-garde artists. Yeah, and jazz keeps getting thrown into other stuff too, which I think is going to help bridge the gap and build, the muscles of hearing jazz, which is going to help people understand it and enjoy it in more, not necessarily traditional, but jazz-oriented music where jazz isn't the spice anymore. So, oh yeah, Go-Go Penguin, we've done one before. Dave Holland sounds familiar, but I don't know if we've done one. See, nobody important. I think that's a really important aspect right there is I think a lot of people like the jazzy sound. But jazz solos are very difficult to get into. And even me, there's some solos that absolutely speak to me. But not all of them do. And so even somebody who has played and understands the format a bit more than most people still finds solos to be kind of hit and miss. And as I've said in the past, jazz to me is still much alive music. It's not something I listen to too much on CD. It's something I would go out to listen to because something is just lost when I know that it was improvised probably at the time of the recording, but it's not improvised live to me. And I don't know why that distinction makes a difference, but it does. Yeah, we've had a couple jazz fusion weeks too. Um, I think we had a full jazz week, which is where the Dave Brubeck one came on. We checked out Gimme Five, right? And Miles Davis's So What? I think they were both part of the same week there. Somehow improvised and also the most predictable thing ever. It depends on who you're listening to, but yeah, if you're just listening to like general big band stuff without any big name players, it's probably going to feel a bit predictable. But I highly implore people who find swing to be boring or big band to check out bebop, especially if you like more progressive avant-garde sounds. Bebop was the type of jazz that was pushed outside of the mainstream once swing started becoming super popular, and these jazz cats led by Birdman, what was his name? Charlie Parker and Mingus, and why am I blanking out on my history here? Anyways, they all said, jazz has become for the people, and we want jazz to be for the musicians again. So they made bebop, which was like a bit esoteric compared to swing and big band at the time, and yeah, it's awesome. If you like more technical stuff, you'll find some stuff there that is not as predictable. Bebop and Rocksteady. Not Charles Mingus. What is his name? Why can't I? Oh, Dizzy Gillespie was also part of the bebop movement. Um, yeah, I love bebop. It is fantastic. Bebop and Rocksteady. Oh, jeez. Anyways, as for Marlon Craft here, I thought that was really well done. I would love to hear more jazz and rap. I think that the dynamic elements of the jazz music, the rising and falling within it, and the varied layers, the interplay between the band was fascinating to hear alongside the rap. I would love to hear more of it. What I picked up lyrically in the rap was kind of hit and miss. Some of it I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for those lyrics. Others I thought were interesting. As usual, it's typically that the topic is fine. The way that they go about speaking about it doesn't always click with me. But I enjoyed the sonic elements of this quite a bit, and I would not mind hearing more of it. I've never heard the Cuphead OST. I've played the first level a couple of times on like demo stands and stuff, and my kid made me watch a few episodes of the show. I don't know if they used any of the soundtrack in there or if the soundtrack was similar, but yeah, I probably should because a lot of people really like that soundtrack. Speaking of Cowboy Bebop, has anybody been watching the Suicide Squad Isekai anime? Because the intro track to that is 100% carrying tank vibes from Cowboy Bebop, and the outro song is some, I don't know, some J-pop song or whatever, but it absolutely is fantastic. It's been stuck in my head, and I posted about it in the Discord and no one responded, so I figured people probably just weren't interested. It's some random anime outro. But I had to let people know because that song is just so addictive. I made you check one song out in a stream. Of Cuphead. No Way Out. I don't remember that. But now I need to go refresh myself because I'm always down for jazzy stuff. Did I enjoy it? I hope I did. I probably did. Soundtrack work tends to be very good for me. We got some UDD. I don't know. Is that an acronym? Should I just say it as a word? Fool Truth. This one comes at us from Wormy. A smooth song from a gorgeous vibe. I did enjoy it. Okay, I'm glad. The only good thing about live action Cowboy Bebop is the Yoko Kono music. Yeah, I didn't watch that. I don't tend to watch anything on Netflix because I don't have Netflix. That's just too pricey for my blood. I'll find some Amazon show or Hulu or something instead of paying for Netflix. Not that into anime. Dude, I was in my 20s. DBZ on Toonami led the way to Cowboy Bebop. I ended up watching Naruto during college years. It was my dad and I's thing. We both watched the weekly episode. We watched all 200 episodes of Naruto, and then I watched like 100 of Shippuden. He finished Shippuden, I think. And dude, man, there's so many good short series though, like Boogie Pop Phantom and dang, what was that? There's a really good cyberpunk one. Can't remember what that one was called. Of course, the classics. You know, I used to watch a lot. I don't watch too much anime anymore, though. There are some notable exceptions. That's where I'm at right now. I used to be about like everything. Every TV show I watched was anime in my teen years, but now it's like the exception. I'm looking for the good stuff. Akudama Drive. That doesn't sound familiar. I'm pretty sure this. Man, this show might have been on Toonami. So it might have had an American dub to it. I don't think I watched an American, though. In English. Akudama Drive. Has anybody ever watched Gasaraki? I think that is one of the strangest animes I ever watched, and I've watched it twice, and I have no idea what I watched. But it's one of those things that I'd never find people who have watched it. It reminds me of Evangelion a little bit, actually. It's the only one worth watching. Jeez. Oh man, that is a take. That is a take. Yeah, dude, Gasaraki, man, it's one of those that just I never find anyone who watched it. But to me, it has all the elements of being a cult hit. The problem with animes, there's often no ground to the worlds that are created. Okay, so here's that seems to me to be a take of somebody on the outside of anime who has only been exposed to the shonen side of anime, which is your big actions, your One Pieces, your Naruto's, your Dragon Balls. Go watch an anime movie. Go watch Your Name. Go watch Grave of the Firefly. Oh, it's a good movie. It's just very sad. So I don't know if that's necessarily one I would want to put somebody on immediately. Um, go watch Miyazaki. This is, to me, the shonen stuff where like the rules kind of get bent here and there, Bleach, stuff like that. It's good stuff if you like action, but it's kind of it's the popcorn, it's the candy of the world of anime. And so there is some really good rooted, grounded anime out there though. Psychopaths. That might be what I'm thinking of actually. The sci-fi one, kind of like Minority Report. Okay, I think that might have been it. Yeah, see? Yeah, see? It's not what you think of when you think of anime, but that's because the shonens they dominate it. Is that a legit quote from Miyazaki? I'd laugh so. It sounds like something he would say though. Castle in the Sky was probably I think that was the first. Oh no, I think Spirited Away was the first Miyazaki I watched. But then yeah, Castle in the Sky cemented my love for him. I don't know what Heidi is. He said it? That's awesome. Like I said, it sounds like something he would say. Alright, we're going to get derailed again, and I don't know that we have time for derailment. So I'm going to get us back on track. We're going to check out UDD's Full Truth. Wormy, a smooth song with a gorgeous vibe. Let's dive into this, see what's going on. Okay. Didn't really need that context. This is smooth right from the start. Oh yeah, My Neighbor Totoro. My friend keeps trying to get me to watch One Punch Man, but the premise turned me off. I guess maybe it's good, but like the idea of a hero who wins in one punch all the time sounded boring to me, so I never got into it. This is a really nice transition from that last track.
You're a fool, baby, for making me feel brand new.
I like the hand drums off to the side rather than a drum kit. Oh wait, we do have an electronic drum kit alongside it though. Sounds more just because it's slightly jazzy. It is taking its time though. Not a bad thing in general. It was funny but got old. See, that's kind of what I thought. It has its shtick. It kind of has to dance around that. But see, Damien, can it keep that up for like the 100 episodes or whatever it has? Oh, this is 100% smooth jazz. Definitely something that sounds like Kenny G. I might watch season 1 then. Oh. I was a little worried this would be drum and bass again. I'm glad we got this keyboard flourish though. Oh. More direction in the vocal melody too. Those vocals sound good to me. I know they're probably digitized and they're all over the retro revival in pop, but they sound good every time. Oh, for some reason I thought it was a long ongoing series. I'm trying to think of any anime I might have watched where I also read the manga. I don't think I ever did that. Yeah. This just feel like an anime song. Oh, they were actually congas. I called them hand drums out of safety, but yeah. Yeah, beautiful track. Very simple, very straightforward. Like I said, the first verse, I felt it could use a little bit more movement, but it actually works as a nice contrast to the more moving ideas we hear later in the track as the rhythmic elements in the melody that the vocals give us begins to pick up and push towards the end of the track. And then, of course, the chorus is just a really strong contrast to the verse already, since we have all the layers here. I just really like it. So yeah, just a generally good song. And you know, the sax sounds great. Did that say everybody was playing instruments? Yeah, very cool. Vocals and keys. Okay. Drum, synth, and guitar, bass, conga, saxophone. Cool. Because there was quite a bit of parts in there that I felt could have been digitized, where they sounded close enough to real, but didn't necessarily need to be. And when it comes to music like this, I just kind of assume that it's all digital anyways. So I'm glad to see that we have people playing the instruments on this song. Very light, smooth idea though. Very smooth jazz though. This is exactly the kind of music that some of the jazz fundamentalists pushed back against when it started to come out because it was too commercialized. But I mean, it sounds good, right? There's a reason it became popular. And I do like how we had some solos in there, particularly the bridge with the guitar and synthesizer playing alongside each other with their own solos, sort of doing a call and response thing. I thought that was awesome. Even though smooth jazz isn't typically known for improvised solos, still nice to have that in there. And her vocals just match the atmosphere of this song so well. So, yeah, I enjoyed that. I've never heard of UDD before, but I'm going to have to check some of them out because I enjoyed that. Very good and chill. Yeah, 100%. We're going in a very different direction here. We got some Nicole Dollanganger with Alligator Blood. There's some dynamics to the song which make it a lot more interesting than smooth jazz. That is true too. Smooth jazz tends to have, as the name implies, a smoothness to it, both sonically and compositionally. This one comes from Thoughts. Not sure if you ever went back to this album, so here's another one. I didn't. It is in my list, but I did not come back to this album on my own yet. So, let's dive into this one, Alligator Blood, and see what Nicole's given us today.
Drinking a cup of alligator blood, tastes like the heads and feet we see. They're sailing the local port. We make necklaces out of. I'd wear them round my neck. I'm a sucker for the love of the flesh. All things rancid and delicate, but the smell in the summer heat that still gets to me. Knee deep in the culture stream, he drank that thing out back and he hung it upside down, slit its belly open and let it bleed out. Then he held my head and made me watch. He filled my mouth up with its blood and said, grow up weak or grow up tall.
Very heavy, lots of somber elements to it. The contrast between the heavily compressed, bassy, booming percussion and the lightness and, dare I say, frailty of her voice is very interesting. Yeah, contrasting.
Cause he wanted me to be all God's, no glory, all survivor, no guilt, he said, but he calls me his crocodile tears while I'm chained up to the bed. Knee deep in the culture stream, he drank that thing out back and he hung it upside down, slit its belly open and let it bleed out. And he held my head and made me watch. He filled my mouth up with its blood.
Very circulatory. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Just kind of bouncing between these couple of notes. Is this a low point to the album? Or is this how most of the song sounds? Because I feel like it's lacking a bit of movement and contrast. But it could just be that it works better inside the album? Is that it? Yeah, so as I was saying, speaking, I was going to bring this up in a bit, that vocally she reminds me of Jack Off Jill, and here we go. The second suggested video is for that band. It's very one note. It ends up being one thing for the majority of it. We do have a little bit of contrast between the verse and the chorus, as we have those larger booming bassier hits underneath the guitar changes, but the song has a very similar vibe throughout. It's in the middle. I think each song has its own idea that brings the variety. Yeah, so the variety comes from the album itself. I think that works within a more contrasty album. It is very one note on its own, but it does set a very specific mood. As I mentioned, it's heavy, it's weighty, but it's also very sad. I don't know what the lyrics are, but it feels like somebody who's in pain and doesn't feel like they know a way to get out of that pain. And a lot of that comes from the weight, it comes from the harmony. The constant heavy contrast surrounding her clean and light voice is it's a massive picture that's being painted. It's exceptionally vivid, and I love that contrast. It works exceptionally well. One punch, one note. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out again. Well, I'm gonna have to add this again to my list of things to check out. I will get to it eventually. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a very effective song. And I think the fact that it doesn't really change drastically might actually even help it in the long run. As if I get the right idea about it, that it is about being stuck in this pain and not knowing a way out of it, the song not really making any changes really leans into that feeling of staying where you are, for whatever reason that might be. And if so, it's artistically very strong in its thematic ties. Anything else you want to add? I don't think so. Alright, moving on. We got some YAYA KIM, which I feel like I should know, but I do not recognize. This one comes out as from Inky, from a trilingual triple album deciding there is no such thing as too much music, art pop with a lot of influences mainly from jazz rock and Latin world, sung in Korean, Spanish, and English. Yes, I love that. Just everything about the description tells me I'm going to be happy. Kind of Phoebe Bridgers adjacent? Yeah, I can see that. Definitely a bit of a correlation there. Alright, I don't know if I'm ready to dive into this, but I'm always excited to hear what people are doing when they're combining all sorts of stuff. Let's dive into this and see what's going on. Sorry, that was very loud. Oh, you're right. Very low amount of monthly listeners. I knew puerta was port in Spanish, but I didn't know del cielo. And in fact, I probably would have pronounced that differently if you hadn't said Italian. I wouldn't say it's super traditional so far. We have jazzier piano, but poppier, even hip-hop style drumming.
resistencia.
Yeah, I agree with that. This is certainly pop. Oh, it's like pop music with flourishes, little snippets of other ideas. Oh yeah, I can see that. The heavy radio sound, the compression on the vocals. Oh, the staging of it too. Where it's like more compressed over here, but more airy over here. Totally agree. It's a lot of stuff. It's kind of tough to understand it all in any meaningful way because it feels like a collage of sounds where it all does come together to a song, but it's really easy for me to see all of the different types of mediums, or in this case, genres being utilized. And that's sort of standing out more on a first time listen than the song itself. Alright, Leon. Yeah, we have one next week. It'll be the last one for the month though. Have a good rest of your day though. Almost a 2.5 hour album. Yeah, like I was saying, it's tough for me to have an opinion on this yet. Because, like, when I see art collage, the first thing I notice is the mishmash of medium. And that's the same thing that happens here. Is I can hear the song, I can see the whole thing together, but it's also very, very easy for me to pick the trees out. Instead of seeing the forest. I'm like, oh yeah, there's jazz, there's pop, there's salsa, there's, all this stuff. And it feels more like a collage of sounds than a song to me on this first listen, as I'm having all these new ideas constantly thrown at me. I'm sure after a few listens it becomes the song and I can start appreciating it on that area. But it's just there's so many eclectic choices, not even just from the genre sounds, but even from production angles. There's some popular sounds on here, sure, but some of those vocal productions are very unusual in ways that even, well, some of them are unusual on their own, but some of them I find are just unusual for the sounds that they're being played against. Oh, I didn't even pick up on that. But yeah, I mean, the language is changing every couple of lines too, so yeah, it's I don't know. It's just it's very difficult to grab a hold on for a first time listen, but I'm very intrigued by it. I like what's going on. I think that all the elements come together in positive ways. I don't know that they all make sense to me yet, but I don't think anything was added or was like, oh, I don't know if I would have done that. Everything seems to work together in some capacity. That one vocal staging, though, just really blows my mind. What was center placed and very clear eventually got that sort of old timey radio compression put on it, and then it was split. And the radio compression was on the right, and off to the left was basically just like the whispers off of it, the very airiness of the voice. It was like they got separated out of it, where everything else got compressed, and the air that came out of her mouth while she was singing these lines was somehow separated into its own track and placed off to the side. And it felt like I was in the middle of her speech. That doesn't make any sense. Like, how, what does that even mean? It's such a bizarre choice, and it works. It ends up feeling very YAYA Kim. I can't say I've listened to anything like this before. Um, so I think what stands out the most to me is that it's very eclectic, bordering on avant-garde. It's certainly experimental in a lot of ways, and yet I still feel like there's a strong element of palatability to this. I don't think it would ever quite reach the realms of some of the big pop artists today at this very moment. You know, tastes will change. Eventually, this might not seem as eclectic in another decade of pop experimentation, but I think if you played this for pop music enjoyers, I think I would be surprised at how many people ended up saying, yeah, I'd listen to more of that, despite the esoteric elements of it. Because there is, at least to me, a very strong sense of palatability to it, in spite of all the odd choices. I'm intrigued is the new interesting. No, no, no. Intrigued is for good music. Interesting is for black metal. The accordion melody was very enjoyable. The accordion itself was an interesting addition. I don't know that it always worked super well for me as a timbre within everything else, but I did enjoy the melody, and it was something you don't hear too often. So yeah, I did like that though, and the melody itself was really good, and it worked as good counterpoint to her vocal melody often too. So very dense, very layered, lots of influences. Am I saying that I don't like black metal? I don't know. I've never really made a clear statement about that in the past, and I think we're just gonna keep it vague, right? It's not that I don't like black metal. It's just, yeah, I don't like it. All right. Very enjoyable though. And I didn't pull that. Oh, wait, how do I? Oh, yeah. Dang. That's what I get for using Spotify. I get confused. All right, we got 3 more to go. Probably going to run over a little bit. I differently like it. We, that's a really diplomatic way of saying that. Yeah. I just like black metal differently. I'm gonna have to steal that, Sunsteel. That's good. Oh man. All right. So let me fix the volume first. Oh, I have a note for myself that I think I'm supposed to read you all. This is why I don't like past Brian do stuff, because he leaves notes for present Brian and I don't understand what they mean. But I think this track is highly dynamic. So the volume is set a little higher than I normally put it, but that's because that volume is really only hit like once or twice maybe. I don't know. And the majority of the song is going to be on the quieter side, so I tried to bump that up a little bit. He never said he didn't like black metal. He just said everything else. All right. We got a track here from the group Ezio called Everybody Forgets Sometimes, aka I can't read the rest of that. Yep. Oh well. Panopticon's the only... Panopticon's crazy. I think they're one of the few like traditional black metal sounding groups that I've had positive things to say about across the board. And it was really only that one track. I don't think we've listened to more than one. But yeah, they are one of those names in my mind. I'm like, they weren't terrible. They did some interesting stuff. What do we got here? Comes from Mark. The band was famously selected in Tony Blair's Desert Island Discs selection, but I've picked my all-time favorite from them. Has to be the live version acoustic. All right. That's what we're going to be working with. Black metal. So interesting. I only like the problem. That is so true, dude. I said that in one of the recent videos too. I'm just a tuning fork for if I like black metal and it has a more traditional sound to it, probably has a depressing message or problematic members. Every single time. Oh, they're from Cambridge. Oh, we've checked out Panopticon more than once? Okay. I wonder if I've been positive on them every time. All I remember is the last one we checked out. Let's dive into this, see what's going on with Ezio.
There are many things I don't want you to know. Places I've been where you don't need to go. There are many words you won't hear me say, though I know that pretty soon you're gonna hear them anyway. And you don't have to be braver than you are. And it's okay to be scared sometimes. And you don't have to remember who you are. Everybody forgets sometimes. I don't want you to have to search for me in a crowded place outside. But if you should be standing there next to me as I suffer something violent, you don't have to be braver than you are. And it's okay to be scared sometimes. And you don't have to remember who you are. Everybody
Ooh, that little
forgets
tension on that chord change.
And if they give you something that was mine,
What's that, a little Spanish on the guitar over there?
there? Broken, well, this is fine.
Dude, there was some intricate chord shifts in that.
And a place to say for you to lay your head at night. And if you want, you could reach the moon, all the things you're feeling. Well, I felt them too. And you don't
You know, the song would be really good already with just the guitar and vocals, but I like this left auxiliary guitar that pops up every once in a while.
And you don't have to remember who you are. Everybody forgets sometimes.
You have some guy in your hometown named Ezio? Dude, I wish this had live footage. I'd love to watch this. Wow. How do you keep a straight face introducing that? I'm Ezio Lunde, I'll be playing guitar, and my partner here is Booga. Oh man, that is a wild differentiation feeling between people's names. Onto the music though, absolutely beautiful stuff. Love this. His voice works really well with the acoustic guitar. The two guitars back and forth. I love the way that they have the interplay, starting with the left guitar providing these little embellishing ideas for the chords and rhythmic ideas we have from the main guitar, and then eventually the solos and the two different types of solos that we get from them. Absolutely lovely. They craft such an atmosphere, and I love the percussive nature of the main guitar. It does give us chords primarily through a lot of this track. I'm going to assume it's the singer also. Awesome. I look forward to that. And then we have the other guitars, which is more single note playing, runs and licks and stuff like that. Just hearing the two of them counter each other and support each other in varying ways, it's just absolutely awesome. This live stream is a lot of experimental atmospheric songs. Yeah, we do, don't we? It didn't really dawn on me. We really haven't been a riff-heavy song today with catchy melodies. It's all been very atmospheric. More jazzy? I don't know if I'd say jazzy. There's a Spanish element to a lot of the melodic and harmonic lines in here. And to me it feels like very traditional Spanish guitar playing. Oh yeah, Obsidious, but yeah, that was definitely the most riff heavy track we've had all day by a very large margin. But yeah, very intimate and lovely melody writing. So I can always get behind that. Simple music, but exceptionally effective. I think we're in for a different ride on this song, though. I don't know, just a guess. More jazzy than Dave Math. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I missed that context there. All right, so we have Einvera. Yeah, dude, that dude with the tuba neck piece. I don't know. That's wild. There's also a tuba in the background on a shelf or something. There's a harp with a skull on it off to the left. There's some trumpet players way in the background behind the harp. We have some sort of music player that you rotate and maybe it, I don't know. Definitely a very musical, disturbing album art. I'm hoping for something a bit more experimental than straight metal, but that's wild. Why didn't that? Oh, there it is. Usually, YouTube chat and what I used to put the stuff over there come in at the same time, but RTQ's comment came in on YouTube and didn't show up, and I was like, wait, did it get blocked? Did it not get picked up? But no, it came through. It promises more smooth jazz. I'm hoping for more jazz in general. This one comes from Novin, a short-lived, overlooked band, screwy, hooky, eclectic, stringy, or sometimes horny, but not like that, kitchen sink avant-garde metal. To be redundant, the easy comparison is unexpected. All right, Lebowski, have a great rest of your day, I'll be back, next week. We'll do it again. Another live stream. We get more and more viewers on the live stream every week, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know if that's because more people are able to make the time or more people know about it. Maybe I should promote it a bit more. I don't know. But the concurrent viewers are going up, as are the unique views, which is pretty cool. All right. I guess let's just dive into this. I don't know what to expect. And I was told to expect unexpect, which is, I guess, what I'm going to do. Let's kick it. So, trumpet. It almost sounds like a mini trumpet, but there's a lot of stuff going on around it. Really strong bass. Ooh! Dude, I'm sold on that melodic drumming. Very metalcore. Yeah, it shares so much in common with Early Between the Buried and Me and Human Abstract and that whole area of progressive metalcore. What contrast! Drum part here is lovely though. Love the cross stick on the snare. The really light ride cymbal work. Very sharp twists and turns on this thing, as y'all are definitely commenting on.
This won't resolve. We're nowhere near. I thought we were. Half of us we get so far off. I said those things, and I did those things. Now wake me up and I'll leave this dream. Nothing ends up. Break. This comes to me in short waves. Take your breathing. Soak. When will my eyes match presence?
Well, there you go, Sunsteel. So this would be a chorus then, which was the first section we had the lyrics. right, Damien, have a good rest of your day. Yeah, it's I like parts of it. I wish I liked more of it. I'm gonna check them out. It said that they had a very limited run. I'm kind of hoping they only have one or two albums I can get through real quick. And kind of explore what they're doing, because the thing is that this shows a lot of potential. It kind of makes me wish they had stuck around for longer. Again, I don't know how long it was, but they had a short run, is what the requester had mentioned. Because there's so much potential here. I think they have a lot of really fantastic ideas. Their ability of interworking counterpoint, specifically in the bass, against really cool, infectious, rhythmic licks in the guitars or riffs, mixed with that very cool melodic drumming where the drums tend to replicate what the rest of the band is doing more so than keep a straightforward rhythm. I love all of that. Everything that we heard in like the first 30 seconds encapsulates what I love about this side of technical metal. The lyrics I thought worked really well, or the vocals I thought worked really well too, both the cleans and that initial harsh. He does go into a bit more of a traditional harsh though, something that feels a bit more uh, less his character. Like that harsh that we heard at the end feels like his singing voice with a lot of compression on top of it. I have no idea how he goes about creating that, but it feels like it's still him doing it, where when he pushes into the other harsh vocal, it just sounds like a growl. It sounds like a harsh vocal, like anyone could be doing that. That one I'm less interested in. It's more monotonous. It's just more static in nature than the other harsh, which tends to be a bit more dynamic. So I enjoy both of those vocal styles. Everything comes together rather well, but we have that weird twist and turn in the middle of the song that takes us to the light guitar stuff that I thought worked well as an individual section, but I have no idea what it had to do with this song. And then we just came back and redid the intro again to wrap the song up. So ultimately, it ends up feeling like a song with no direction to me. Really neat ideas, kind of falters in the execution though. And that's just where experience is going to come into play on how to craft a song more so than how to create cool ideas. And this definitely feels like a song with some cool ideas in it. And like I said, I wish that they would have stuck around a little bit and razor honed and fine tuned this process and made something interesting out of it. They didn't tie the room together. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, and everything just kind of got smashed together. And so I'm kind of 50, like at the beginning though, I even said, it reminds me of two bands that I've greatly enjoyed. Human Abstract and Between the Buried and Me. It has that progressive metalcore feel throughout. It's just missing that experience to make it into something cohesive. But I mean, right now I'm intrigued enough to dig into more, and that's a big win. They should definitely accept that. And yeah, there's parts of me, man. When did this come out? Maybe 2011. YouTube's not always something I like to rely on too heavily. Maybe they see this reaction, they give it another go. I'd like to see that. I doubt that's what's going to happen, but that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, there's so many good ideas in it, and I think that's what sucks. So many good sections, it just doesn't come together. And I think that's what a couple of y'all were feeling as well. Final track today is from Laddio, Bolocko. Goat lips. Everything about this is so bizarre to say. This one comes at us from Satali. Okay, so I mentioned that thing earlier where I mentioned the brackets and then foreshadowing. It's really big foreshadowing because it's actually next week. And if it is next week, then it's going to be that one song that... Let me just double check this real quick. Oh, wait, no. I missed it. It was Kessler's comment for Bomb the Music Industry. Instead of not giving me context, Kessler went and left me the context No context exclamation mark. It wasn't that I didn't get any. I was purposely stated I was. Dang, how did I miss that? Really bad at setting that one up, huh? Anyways, no context on this one. This song is 7 minutes long. Let's dive into it. See what's going on with Laddio Bolocko. Well, I'm glad someone does. I'm ready for some change. It's a fine atmosphere. Where are we going with it?
Hallihallo, die Post ist da.
Ja, stecken Sie alles in den Kasten.
Ah, von wegen Kasten. Das ist eine persönliche Mitteilung.
Ach so.
That's what it is. I was trying to figure out what this reminded me of because we had heard something similar as recently. Yeah, it's the Battles album. La Di Da Da or whatever the album was we checked out a couple weeks back. Mark. Right up to that cusp, and then we'll change it. I just forgot the rhythm. It does need a lead melody. I don't think the repetition would be as egregious to me if it had something on top of it. But it being the main attraction, I just feel that it's, personally, it's not enough. Okay. need a little thing up in the corner that says Brian remembered that. This is gonna be like Crowless, where I'll only ever hear one song from Laddio Bolocko, and it's gonna be drilled into my brain. That song that just annoyed me to no end. I wonder if this is live looped, or if this is a full band playing this. I guess 97 to 99. Live looping might have been possible, but this is probably a band, yeah. I don't do this often. I have to check how much longer we have. 50 seconds, okay. The tears. All right. So I try to be positive, critical, not cynical. It's the whole brand thing. 97 to 99% without change. That's classic. Oh, the drumming was interesting. The drumming tried to keep things as dramatic, not dramatic, as dynamic as they could, changing things up every so often, but more often than the guitars did. So I enjoyed that. There's some neat little beats and grooves in there, and some of the opening guitar licks were neat, overplayed at a point for me, but I liked the idea behind them. It was just the execution that tended to wear me down a bit. Um, maybe that's all the nice I have to say about it, though. They definitely craft an atmosphere, and interestingly, quite a few of you enjoyed it. More so than I would have assumed. RTQ definitely. I kind of... That makes sense to me. I'll just put it that way. But... This would have been great to play in the dentist office. Way to bring this back to the first conversation we had. That's good. Beyond that though, I did not enjoy this. This definitely goes in the list of songs I just don't ever want to hear again. I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to stay nice today. Jeez. Imagine hearing this while the dentist drills you. Interesting choice of words. Oh, jeez. The do not listen later list. Yeah, it's short. I've never made it, but there's only a handful of songs I think would ever end up on that. And even some of the songs that I wasn't a big fan of, I've gone back to and found a new appreciation for. Not that I would want to listen to them again, but, still, I wouldn't hate it, right? I think one of the first ones that we had in that area was Russian Circles 403. And I was just like, I don't get it. It's not really my cup of tea. I wouldn't want to hear it again. And we checked it out a second time for whatever the Second Chances week, where I went back and looked at songs I was a bit negative on. And I got it better because I understood post metal, that time around. But yeah, this definitely goes in the list of never again. A very short list. And this occupies a very prestigious position, I suppose. The new hold music, that's definitely a way to get people to hang up, not have to deal with them. The Torture Brian playlist, I can get behind that name. Yeah, this is normally, I can come around to it. Okay, this isn't my cup of tea, but I get why people would like it. I don't get that here. I see RTQ talking about enjoying it, and I think nobody important said they liked it. Mark said that they kind of enjoyed it, and I'm just sitting here thinking, how? Usually I can find that perspective, but here I can't. I don't understand how this is pleasurable in any way. Oh, nobody important. I loved it. I misspoke for them. Much stronger emotion. It's the surreal ambience. Okay. Okay. I can see that. I don't get it. I don't get it, but I can see it. I can see where you're coming from. And that puts me in a much better position than I was 5 seconds ago. Hypnotic noise. See, to me, it's not hypnotic at all. And I guess that's the part of experience and personal biases and stuff that comes into play. I was not hypnotized. I was just pissed off. I don't want to listen to any more of that. Turn it off. This is torture, right? Torture and surreal hypnotic, they don't go together for me. But I suppose it might not have been torturous for everybody. Oh, geez, Sunsteel, you have something that would help me understand it. You're gonna make me listen to it too, aren't you? Oh, see, I can get behind that too. I like being surprised in more positive ways, but I do agree with that. This was very different. I can't say I've heard anything like it, so it is surprising. All right, on that note, this is such a bizarre day. We had some wild stuff. That's gonna wrap up the stream. I think black metal vocals might have improved it for me. I really do. Um, so yeah, that's is this gonna be my break? No. No, we this week we have random rumble. Saturday we're gonna have one or two album reviews. I'm gonna see if I have time to make up for yesterday. And then next Sunday we'll have a stream, and that will be the last one before the break. And then I'll be off from the 22nd until the 3rd, and then on August 4th we'll have a live stream. That'll kick me being back off a break. That's a weird way to phrase that. So yeah, that's what we have to look forward to. Y'all have 8 more days of me. I will catch y'all later. We got some cool stuff coming this week. I couldn't think of a more challenging track to subject someone to. I agree. This is definitely challenging, I think, for a majority of people. Maybe not everyone. Some people really enjoyed this. But I think in general, this is a very challenging track for a lot of people. All right. So, yeah, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Get ready for another week worth of cool stuff. And, yeah, I'll catch y'all later. RTQ could think of some. Please don't send them my way.